Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infiniti of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infiniti of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies, Chris Wallace. The Memphis Grizzlies opened up the new season this past Wednesday evening as they played host to the Cleveland Cavaliers and future Hall of Famer LeBron James. The Grizzlies followed that up with a game at Indiana on Thursday and will play host to former head coach Lionel Hollins and the Brooklyn Nets this evening. Now, a sold-out crowd watched the Grizz get stomped 106-76 as nothing went right on opening night. After the game, we went into the locker room to get some of the thoughts of the Grizzlies after their disappointing season opener.
That was ugly. That was ugly. And ain't no other ways, ain't no other words to put it. You know, that was just bad. And just, you know, you want a better start. You want to start off, you know, the season on a good note. But one thing for sure, too, for certain, our confidence isn't shook. We still believe we're a strong-minded bunch. The greatest thing about the NBA, you get to bounce back tomorrow. But this is one of those games you just want to throw away.
It definitely didn't happen the way we wanted to. We were very hesitant offensively, missed a lot of shots, and then that affected our defense. And then we were giving up layups in the paint. We were giving up threes. Offensively, we were trying to be superheroes and play, without passing and making our own decisions and not really executing. So yeah, it was a really bad game all around.
Now, as you know, 82 games is a long season, and we all remember last year when the Grizzlies faded down the stretch, falling from the 2nd seed to the 5th in the ultra-competitive Western Conference, but bounced back to win their first-round playoff series and then gave the Warriors some issues in round 2. Now, pacing and rest may be keys for this season's team, with the Grizz being one of the league's oldest squads. With that said, they are also one of the most talented and complete teams with years of playoff experience and chemistry from their core players that is second to none. General Manager Chris Wallace enters his 9th season in Memphis and, as usual, made some time for us earlier this week to sit down and discuss expectations for the new campaign. Chris, thanks for being on the show again.
My pleasure, Greg.
Appreciate it. Dave Yeagers said that the first 25 games of this schedule is daunting. They just need to survive. The Grizzlies need to survive. How tough of a schedule do you believe it is, especially early?
Well, in terms of the quality of opposition, it's very strong at the beginning of the season. Plus, we have a road trip of 5 games duration out west after the 3rd game of the season. But in the NBA, you got to play everybody at some point in time. So it's not something I spend a great deal of time thinking about. The schedule is the schedule. And whenever you have a difficult time, Greg, at some point in time the sun comes out and it lightens up a little bit too.
Yeah, you can look at it like
Yeah.
If it's hard at the beginning, maybe it eases up. If it's easy at the beginning, it's going to toughen up. You hope to get out to a good start. So you're right, you got to play everybody that's on the schedule. With that said, what is the potential of this team?
Well, I think the team has fantastic potential. I mean, we're a team that can beat anybody in the NBA. We're a contender for the Western Conference crown. We're a contender for the NBA championship. But there's a tremendous amount of competition out there as well. But we've been very good for the last 5 years. I fully expect for us to be in the hunt again this year and have another great season.
Do you believe this is the deepest team you've assembled here in Memphis?
I think you can make that case, Greg. We're very deep. Dave's going to have some tough decisions who the actual rotation will be at the beginning of the season. As we've got more candidates probably than there are spots in their rotation. Right. But that's a good problem to have. Picking up Brandon Wright and Matt Barnes has made us more deeper, more athletic, and versatile than we were at the end of last year.
Yeah, let's talk specifically about those 2 key offseason acquisitions. Let's start with Matt Barnes.
Well, Matt Barnes brings a tremendous passion, great defensive ability, can play 3 different positions. He's had some tremendous years shooting the corner three, so he's a threat there. And he's a great veteran to have around. He's just been through everything that you can experience in the NBA. The other players know him and immediately responded to him. And you can never have too many of these veterans when you're swinging for the fences trying to win a championship that have been there and done that, so to speak. But because you just got to have those guys when the going gets tough.
He is certainly one of those players
Right.
where, as a Grizzly fan, they hate it when he's on the other team, but now that he's part of the Grizzlies, they love it.
You love him when he's yours.
Exactly.
Right? A player that you might have been yelling at when he's with the other team, but we're glad to have Matt. He's done everything asked so far. Has been terrific, and he just fit in so quickly and seamlessly.
All right, the other big offseason acquisition, a guy who played his prep ball up the road in Nashville, that's Brandon Wright.
Brandon Wright at Brentwood Academy, North Carolina, former lottery pick. He brings, Greg, an athleticism, quick jumping ability. He can run the court very well. Just a look that we haven't had for a couple of years, because that length, athleticism, ability to hit a 5-10 foot shot with it and get his hook shot, and also be a weak side shot blocker. Probably one thing we lacked late last year was that athletic pop at our inside positions, power forward and center. Now we have it with him, and not just with Brandon, but JaMychal Green provides some real athleticism and vitality as well.
You talked about the options that Dave Yeager will have
Right.
with the wings, but he's going to have options as well with the complete rotation, because I know with this second unit, at least what's penciled in right now, is a different style than what we will see from the starters. So that's going to give
we
a
could
different
be
look,
more,
right?
a team that plays in the open court,
Right.
a little faster tempo with the second unit at times.
And that keeps opponents on their feet because you have two different
Well, you
styles
love to be
coming at you.
versatile
Right.
and be able to attack a team from many different angles. You don't want to be a team that people can easily prepare for and
Right.
pigeonhole. And yes, we're known as a grit and grind team with a strong inside game, but we have some other aspects to this toolbox as well that Coach Yeager can use.
All right, I'll ask you a question I've asked you probably every offseason, and I'm sure I'm not the only
Mm-hmm.
one. Do you have enough shooting to win in this type of NBA game that's played now?
Well, I think we have more shooting than given credit for. When you go down our roster, Mike Conley has improved significantly over the years as a three-point shooter. Courtney Lee's coming off as strong a year shooting from three as he's enjoyed since he entered the NBA in 2008. We touched on Matt Barnes and his ability to make a corner three. Jeff Green also shot the corner three very well from us and was over 40% for much of the preseason until the last game. So I think we've got guys that can make threes. We've got some guys that are outside shooters. Bano Udrih and Courtney Lee
Right.
are as good at pull-up shooters. Might not be from three-point range, but as good at pull-up shooters in the middle distances as there are in the league. So I think we've got some weapons as far as shooting is concerned.
You're an organization that certainly looks at the numbers, looks at the analytics.
Right.
Jeff Green is still a little confusing to many because it seems he's more productive coming off the bench, but Dave continues to play him as a starter, likes him in that starting lineup. It's a little bit unusual because he seems to be the guy that on the second unit would be the go-to scorer. On the first unit, a fourth or fifth option.
Well, I think there's too much made in sports of who starts.
Okay.
It's who finishes that's more important than who starts. I mean, the NBA game is 48 minutes long and well over 200 minutes. I think it's 220 minutes. You do the math of that's out there for
Right.
everyone on a team in a particular night. So his versatility and athleticism are huge for us. But Jeff's a guy that can play both forward positions. He can handle the ball in the open court. He can be a secondary playmaker for you, which is very important because the best teams in the NBA now have multiple playmakers. He can drive the ball and get fouled, as evidence against the Lakers late last year. He went to the line 10 times, made all 10 in a game we were struggling. He's got the corner three, as we touched upon a little earlier. There was a game against Phoenix. He hit the game-winning shot with a post up in the lane. Did a great job guarding Russell Westbrook in a win over Oklahoma City late in the year. So Jeff just brings tremendous variety of skills with tremendous athleticism and size as well. So I think he's going to be extremely important to us this year.
Chris, we talked about the big offseason acquisitions, but the biggest news was re-signing Marc Gasol. And you on this show last
Right.
year, and not the only place you said it, you guaranteed basically me and the fans out there that
Made
were
a
watching.
Joe Namath guarantee.
You did, and you nailed it. You said that Marc Gasol would come back, he'd be re-signed, you get him for 5 more years. With that said, are you about ready to make a prediction on Mike Conley's future?
We'll sign Mike Conley too. I mean, who haven't we signed?
You've signed
The core
everybody.
players, dating back to I think 2009 when we extended Mike Conley's contract. Rudy Gay, when he was a core player, was signed. Zach Randolph's been signed multiple times. Tony Allen's in his second contract with us. Marcus Gasol signed 3 contracts since he's been in Memphis.
Why is it? What do they love so much about?
Well,
is it playing with each other and the organization?
I think there's a variety of factors at play here, Greg. One, they know they can win big and also get what they're looking for individually with a career. Take a look at Mark. Take a look at Zach. They've been all pro players. It doesn't get any bigger than that in the NBA. They've been all-stars. Mark's been Defensive Player of the Year. Tony Allen's been Defensive Player of the Year, 4 times since he's been here. We've won 27 games in the playoffs. We receive a great deal of national and international attention. Why would you want to play anywhere else when we've got as good an arena as there is in the world? And tremendous fan base. And when this place is cooking FedEx Forum, particularly playoff time, this is as vibrant an atmosphere as there is in the entire NBA. So I go to these guys, why would you want to go anywhere else? The grass is not always greener on that other side of the hill.
That is, or bluer in this case.
I like that.
With what happened last year against the Warriors with the injuries, do you believe a 100% healthy Grizzly squad would have beaten the Warriors?
That's not fair to the Warriors, and who would know? We extended the Warriors. We, maybe could have extended them a little further, but you've got to give the Warriors a credit. They were a deserving champion, played a very entertaining style of play. Steph Curry's as good a shooter as I've seen since my time in basketball. It all fit for them last year. Golden State didn't have injuries. Iguodala was able to take a back seat and come off the bench. That he's rewarded by being the first guy I can ever remember being a bench player and win Finals MVP.
Right.
So it was just one of these tremendous seasons. Tip your hat to them. That's in the rearview mirror.
The West is loaded for bear once again.
Right.
Some teams have gone out and really improved. And when you look at the prognostications from these so-called experts, the Grizzlies are 5 or 6. They feel that they're going to be in the playoffs once again, but will not be a 1, 2, or 3 seed. When you look at the West, what do you see?
Well, I think the competition's never been more blistering in the West. The majority of the teams that the experts feel could win the championship are Western teams.
Right.
We obviously have the last champion in Golden State, and the champion before that in San Antonio. And Houston is really going to be a loaded team from an offensive standpoint. And the Clippers got Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and so forth and so on. So I don't really concern myself about the prognosticators, their predictions. I don't even really worry that much about where we're going to be in the seeding. Just get us to the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, Greg, we've proven we can compete with anyone.
No question.
And we can win games on the road in the playoffs as well. So we're a very difficult out for anybody in the playoffs because we're a different style than anyone else. This is the era of the perimeter player being dominant, size down, small ball, shoot the 3, and we're a throwback to a different time. We're like a football team that can run the ball off a strong offensive line in the passing era. So I think it's very difficult for teams to prepare and play for us, and we're not afraid to play anybody when we get to the playoffs.
If you were, here's a question out of the blue, if you were commissioner for a day, you can make one change to the NBA. Anything you want to do. We talk about how rugged the West is. Maybe you want to move the Grizzlies over to the East, but what would be the one move you would do?
One move, you're saying to benefit the Grizzlies or for the game?
Whatever you think. You're the commissioner, really to benefit the game.
I probably would tinker with the draft lottery to a certain extent.
In what extent?
I'd like to go back to the days where everybody that's in the lottery, you just get one ball and you put it in the hopper. And if you had the worst record and you finish 14th after the drawing, so be it.
Right. Okay. I don't mind that. We lost a big name, a guy who was beloved last week in Flip Saunders. Do you have anything personal? Did you have a personal relationship with Flip?
I never worked with Flip, but I greatly admired him, not just for his success in Minnesota, not just for the fact that he came back and took over the Minnesota team as coach, general manager, and part owner recently.
Right.
But I love guys like Flip, Greg, and Dave Yeager fits into this category as well, who worked their way up from the bottom in the minor leagues. Tremendous respect. He was CBA, a great coach there. He started off as an assistant coach at a community college in Golden Valley in the Twin Cities area. And if you read what his players said about him, that anybody who was coaching him, the old Timberwolves team to the new guys now in Washington, Detroit, they loved the guy. And they felt that Flip Saunders didn't just make them a better basketball player, prepare them for the next opponent. he helped them be better men, prepare them for life. It was like having another family figure on the coaching staff, not just a mere coach. So I admire everything that I'm hearing about him and the career work that he achieved. It's a tremendous loss for our league, obviously for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we pass on our prayers and sympathy and well wishes to the Saunders family and the entire Minnesota Timberwolves organization.
Chris, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little college football in our final moments here. You're such a college football fan, as most people know. We've seen a lot of surprises. We've seen a lot of coaching moves already made in the month of October, with big names gone, with big programs, with a vacancy for their head coach. But my thoughts are, or the thoughts I want to get from you, in October, we're sitting here closing in on November. Who's your 4 playoff teams? If the playoffs were to start this week, who would you have in there?
Well, that's a difficult question. I still think you can be a little bit too picky and critical of Ohio State. They are the defending champions. They haven't lost a game. They've got incredible depth and talent all around the board. To me, they're still the team that has to be beat.
And you don't have to win by 60 every game, right?
No.
Okay,
and
Buckeyes in.
Buckeyes in. You have to take a Big 12 team this year. So I'd have to defer till I saw who wins the TCU Baylor game.
And Baylor lost their quarterback, Seth Russell.
But they've got a great freshman that's coming in that everyone says is more than ready for the job.
Okay, so Big 12 winner. Oklahoma State's still in that mix too.
But the winner.
Okay.
I'm an LSU fan. My sons have enrolled in school there. I'll be rooting hard for them against Alabama on November 7th. So I'm going to go with the Tigers. How about that?
Hey, if they're the only undefeated left. They got to play Bama. They got to play Ole Miss. They can get that done, win the West, and go in and win the SEC championship. They absolutely punch their ticket.
And then it's tough, but I have to admire what Stanford's done. They bounced back from that Northwestern loss, which looks a lot better now.
Right.
The way Northwestern's played. And Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech at home last year. They still won the national championship. Clemson's very deserving to be considered at this point in time. And the SEC could be really topsy-turvy. What if Ole Miss wins out?
Bama's not getting in as an 11-1 second place
What if
team.
Florida would then beat them in the conference championship? So it's still a great deal to be determined, but as usual, the championship's going to go through, in many ways, through Tuscaloosa. If LSU can win that game, they're in the driver's seat.
Right.
If Alabama can take it, you got to look at them again.
Long way to go. And
I just love these playoffs, though.
It's
it just has made the regular season even more fun. It gives more teams an opportunity, and I know I get bashed for this. I hope there's a day we have 8 teams in. I'd like to have all 5 conferences have their champion and 3 at large.
You love football, but you love basketball even better.
And how about this year with the Memphis Tigers? I'd be remiss if we didn't mention this.
How about that?
This has been a season for the ages. The Ole Miss game was one of my greatest moments in over 50 years of being a sports fan. I've been to World Series, I've been to national championship games of college football, almost all the big bowl games, Final Fours, Olympics, but the atmosphere in the Liberty Bowl and the pure joy from the fan base and the players as that clock was winding down, I always remember that.
We'll leave it at that. Well said. Chris, as always, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Greg.
We'll
Appreciate
take a break.
it.
Overtime is next. Last month, we introduced you to a new segment here on Sports Files, which will run periodically. It's all about getting fit and staying fit. It's fitness you can live by. And today, master trainer Jason Wilson from LA Fitness shows us how it's done.
Hey, I'm Jason. Today we're going to be talking about stamina and endurance. All right, most of y'all probably don't know, but there is a difference between stamina and endurance. Stamina deals with more about the cardiovascular part of it, and endurance is actually how long you can actually last through a workout or maybe a cardio session as far as swimming or running. All right, so the first part is cardiovascular. All right, first thing I want to hit on is your full breathing method. All right, so there's 3 steps to the process of the full breathing method. All right, the first one is I want you to inhale through your nose. The second one is to hold that breath for a second. and then exhale slowly. All right, because you want to control your breathing in and out to prevent quick and repetitive breathing. All right, because when you do high intensity and longer endurance training, your body actually requires higher oxygen demand. All right, so these quick breathing methods actually create muscle fatigue faster. All right, and then the endurance part of it is more along the lines of using your muscle. All right, so what you want to do here is use lower volume, which is weight, with higher repetitions. All right, and when you do this, it actually increases your metabolism, which actually helps you lose weight faster and helps you keep it off as well. All right, and you don't want to just stick to endurance style workouts for long periods of time, because once your body gets used to it, it's actually going to end up slowing your metabolism down, because it's looking for something for you to create something new. It's not looking for the same repetitive thing. All right, as well as when you're doing these high reps and low volume, you want to reduce your rest time maybe down to about 30 to 90 seconds. All right, and a good way to do this is creating circuit training. All right, so through the circuit training, you want to pick out about 4, maybe 5 exercises, how many ever you can find, in the same muscle group, doing these back to back to back, all right, then taking a extended rest for the 90 seconds or so, maybe 60 seconds. All right, and then hitting that through a second set and doing that through a third set. All right, because you need to find exercises that use more than one joint as well, such as squat to press, push-up, pull-ups, step-ups, exercises such as that. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate some of these exercises. All right, so the first one we have is the squat to press. All right, so what I'm going to use here today are just some simple containers of sugar. All right, the good kind of sugar. All right, so what we're going to do is squat down, keeping the weight back on our heels, keeping our knees not past our toes, coming up and pressing. All right, coming down, back on our heels, coming up and pressing. All right, so the next thing you can do, as well as keeping the weight in your hand at the same time, maybe doing step-ups. Well, today I have a chair. You don't always have to do something that high, depending on your range of motion. All right, so what you're going to do is just step up with your right leg, come down, and you can either keep going with the same leg or you can alternate them. All right, so you can work on your coordination just a little bit if needed. All right, so put those down. All right, another different kind of exercises is hybrid exercises, using more than one muscle to help stimulate the heart muscles. All right, so such as explosive movements. You have box jumps, you got burpees, jumping knee tucks, and power push-ups. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate some of these as well. All right, so when you got a box jump, it's the similar as you can grab a chair, box, stairs, whatever you have to your advantage. All right, so facing the chair, all right, you want to bend your knees a little bit and explode up. All right, so watch, I'm going to bend my knees, explode up on the chair, step down, come back, explode up, step down. All right, and then you have another one, the burpee. All right, it's pretty much, you're going to stand right in front of you. You're going to jump down into a plank position, bring your knees back to your chest, stand up, repeat, bend down, kick your feet out into a plank position, bring your knees back, come up. All right, then you have your jumping knee tucks, which is pretty simple, just holding your hands out and bringing both knees to your hands while exploding up and jumping. All right, and then the fourth one is the power push-up. All right, so it's the same thing as a push-up. So I'm gonna get down. All right, so when you come down, you wanna explode yourself up. Come back down, explode yourself up. All right, so, but you don't just wanna stick to these isolated exercises in the gym, such as leg lifts and bicep curls, all right? Because that's not gonna stimulate you enough to increase your stamina. And the last point I wanted to get to today is you don't want to stick to the same routine. You want to sip it up. It's very essential to switch up your exercises and your routine. All right, I know I kind of hit on that earlier, but every time you come to the gym, you want to do something completely different to kind of throw your body off, all right? Because the human body gets used to a routine after about 2 weeks or so. I know some of y'all might not be members of the gym, but as you saw today, we did use some household items that you can use at home, but I can guarantee you this will help you with your endurance and stamina. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, Jason. Hey, American Conference Basketball Media Day took place earlier this week, and the Memphis Tigers are picked to finish 5th in the conference. SMU, which is on probation, was still the top pick of the 11 league head coaches as they garnered 98 overall points and 8 first-place tallies. UConn was second with 87 and 2 first-place votes, while Cincinnati was the third choice, grabbing 84 points. Tulsa was fourth, and then the Tigers fifth with 59 total points. They were followed by Temple, Houston, East Carolina, UCF, South Florida, and Tulane. Now, speaking of Tulane, they are tonight's opponent for the 16th ranked Memphis Tigers football team, which is now 7-0 after their win at Tulsa. Next Saturday, the Tigers will play host to Navy. And that'll do it for now. Remember, to see any of our previous shows, just hop on the WKNO website at www.wkno.org and check us out. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.